Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of PoCommunity. I'm Mike Arboy and I'm sitting here with Orshi Liptak-Bennet. How's it going, Orshi?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. Thank you for being here. Tell us about yourself, Orshi.
Such a cool space.
Thank you,
Like one
thank
wants to
you.
actually talk. Like, yeah. So yes, who am I? I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I'm a game changer, and I am a troublemaker in the wellness industry. My company is Wellness Wave Creations, and what we try to do on a daily basis is to enhance our customers' energetic signature through a variety of quality health and wellness products, whether it is going to be their physical environment or body that we enhance, or their spiritual, emotional well being.
That's really cool. How did you get into that?
Well, I guess maybe it would be a great opening line to say that I died on a piece of walnut, and that kind of opened a brand new world in my life. I'm previously a certified legal consultant. I worked 20 years almost in immigration law, had my own consulting business, and pretty much I have not existed in this whole period of time other than serving clients. And then I've been struggling with allergies for 20 years, and I never really took that seriously much either until this one day. I never been allergic to anything. I had a piece of walnut actually from my own garden that my mom brought here, a little bag from Hungary, of all places. And I just had to call 911 on myself. My daughter was 3 months old, so they rushed, to me. While my husband, poor guy, I just sent him to the pharmacy. He didn't even know what to do with me because I just knew my throat was closing in on me. And so I had firemen, ambulance, cops. I got resuscitated in the backyard.
Wow.
So that was just not a fun thing. And then about a year and a half later, I had a similar episode on blueberries, which again should be really good for us, full of antioxidants. Why am I dying on these things, right? And then a few days later, I started to have panic attacks, and now I got scared. I went to the doctor, usual tests, and they told me that they had good news. And I said, "What's the good news?" And they said that everything is okay with you. I said, "You must be out of your minds." So to be honest with you, that was 2012. I never saw a family physician since then. I don't even think I have a record of any kind of anywhere. Like, it's like unknown. So I went to naturopath. So that was my next move, and I did improve. I didn't get a panic attack anymore, but my allergies have not, I just could not restore my homeostasis. I did leave $13,000 in 2 years at the naturopath's office. Tinctures, products, supplements, procedures, tests, appointments, right? So I could have gone back to college for that amount of money. And then eventually, we used to live in Toronto. A friend of mine invited me over to BC, and she said, "Okay, it's enough. You need a week's rest. Come over to my house." Beautiful mountain home in Chilliwack. And I came over, and she picks me up at Abbotsford at the airport, and she takes me to these people's houses. And I said, "No, no, 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 no. I'm not going to anybody's houses. I don't know anybody. Let's go back to your home. I'm jet lagged. I'm tired. I've got rubber boots on because I never had been to BC prior to that." So, and it was September, so it was raining, right? So, anyway, she takes me to this water presentation to these folks' house, and I couldn't really do anything about it. She was my hostess, she was my driver. So, I sat down and I listened. And this guy spoke, and whatever he said, I just totally had a complete understanding of what might have been happening to me. Why am I having all of these problems? What might be the root cause of my problem? And so I had a glass of water, and then two, and then three while I was sitting there and talking, and then that kind of got me on a water journey. And so it led me to this Japanese water ionizer technology with a company called Inagic, which is really actually standing for energy and magic when you put it together. And so I flew back to Toronto, as after that 1 week, I had this massive cleaning out of my body going on. We're not going to talk about the bathroom story, but I just all of a sudden could breathe, which 10 years I couldn't use my nose. 10 years.
That's crazy.
Imagine you've got that thing on your head and just don't even use it, right?
Yeah.
Forget it. So I flew back to Toronto. I said to my husband, okay, I'm buying this thing. This is going to be my way out of law, which I felt that I can't do it anymore. I'm totally mentally, emotionally burnt out. And I didn't realize that people burn out. So I didn't take this easily. You know, for me, this was like, I didn't even meet my own standards. Like I beat myself over this in this process. And so my husband says, oh, you must be crazy. You're not buying any machines of whatever you're trying to do here, right? Like that's a nonsense. And so I started to research. I researched for 9 months on this unit. And so I ended up purchasing it, and then we started a journey. But of course, prior to that, I got sick a couple of more times. I had a miscarriage. I had, then that. So all kinds of things have happened between my first contact with the water and then the 9 months later time. And I ended up purchasing a unit, and then it's been just a new world of direct selling. And I told people my story, that how much the water helped me, and then that just prompted on its own organically the growth of a business. So I kind of went out of law and into the water business, if you will. And then I became a Reiki Master Practitioner. And then I became a Reiki Master Teacher. And then I became a certified essential oil specialist. And then I started to collaborate with a lot of women in the wellness industry. And then it's kind of formed Wellness Wave Creations as we see today.
It's really cool. Like, so what's the difference between this water? Like, what is the major difference?
It's electricity.
Yeah.
It's energy. It's electrical charge through a process called electrolysis, which means not chemically altered. Nothing is put into the water to make it alkaline, which a lot of the alkaline waters in the market are prepared that way.
Yeah.
So you don't want those. That's the Japanese actually call those waters dead water, because there's no energy, and it's easily measurable. Actually, you buy the gadget that I have at an aquarium store of all places, because they measure the waters in the aquariums for the fish, because guess what, the fish all would die in the waters as well if it didn't have electrical charge. So if you're a fisherman, when the fisherman goes out to the fish, they like to go out after thunderstorms, for example. Why? Because all of the lightning and all of the thunderstorms create an electrical charge, a lot of negative ions in the air, and the fish come further up. Okay, because they want that electrical charge, they need it. Our body operates at minus 22 millivolts. So we can't operate at plus millivolts too long. Cancer cells turn on at plus 20, plus 30 something. Now, a glass of, don't kill me people with the pop industry, but let's say a glass of carbonated beverage usually tests at plus 400, plus 500 millivolts. That's insane. The body needs to operate at minus 22, and cancer cells kind of turn on at plus 30, 40, 50. So you're feeding your body with bad stuff on the long run, then you lose electrical charge. People usually sense it as, I don't have energy. I'm so tired. I'm always so tired. I'm exhausted, right? So that comes from them losing electrical charge. So it's very important to gain electrical charge, and you can gain it through a variety of things. So the water, out of all the waters in the world, electrolytes reduced water will give you that electrical charge. So usually, like whatever I have here in my bottle, usually measures at about minus 4 to minus 500 millivolts. Wow. So that's why I think my body immediately reacted. And honest to God, I'm not saying everybody would react that fast, but I did react that fast. And what it does is it's loaded with the bioavailable minerals from your source water, and it cleans the guts. And then when your gut is clean, then you've got gut health, brain health. So all kinds of therapeutic benefits come from it. And the Japanese have been using this technology for almost 50 years.
It's a very healthy society too. Like they've always been very health conscious and just with
They're
what
the
they're putting.
number one in
Yeah,
the world in longevity, if somebody didn't know. And
yeah,
they're holding that number one spot for a long time.
yeah. It's not even just that. I've heard of like even animals. Like it's weird. Like
Yeah.
the oldest dog on record was in Japan. Like it's just they're very health crazy, and it's I think they're just we're in North America and other places in the world. We're so just we look at the cheapest way of basically doing things.
The
So
United States is, I think, like number 38 in longevity
yeah,
in the world, you know, a list.
yeah,
So so it is something to pay attention to. And the way that they actually have come about to realize the benefits of electrolyzed reduced water was 70 some years ago when the Russians and the Germans started to look into this. They noticed that there are spots in the world called blue zones where people live the longest lives. So they examined these spots and they said, what's going on in those spots? One was Okinawa,
yeah,
you know, or another spot is Lourdes, France, which of course a lot of people would have heard, or Tlacoma, Mexico, or there's just a few spots in the high of Himalayas. So they've examined people like the Hunzas, nothing to do with the Hungarians, just saying, the Hunza Valley, and they live over 100 years easy, 120, 125, and they know of no cancer.
yeah. That's
So that's how they've realized that the common denomination is their water source, and the water has a couple of noticeable properties. One is the electrical charge, antioxidant value, electrical charge to it, that minus charge. So when you're by a waterfall, you feel that that's negative ions, that's electrical charge. When you're by the ocean and you walk around on the beach and you know that water kind of whooshes and touches your feet, that's negative ions, that's electrical charge. So what do we do when we come home from a vacation? We feel charged, right?
yeah,
It's almost like so interesting how almost every language has its word for that. We're charged.
yeah.
But we just take that word for granted, right? But that's what it means. We get, oh, sure, it's nice to be away from our regular routine and jobs, but also the environment. Forests have negative ionization, right? That's why people forest bathe,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's why the nature gives us such a phenomenal energy. Just to walk in the woods for half an hour will change your life all the time.
yeah. That's really cool. And like, not many people go the natural route with energy, basically building their energy. Everybody goes to the energy drinks or the coffees with like many espresso shots, and it
Yeah,
will like give them that
yeah,
quick kick. But in reality, their body might feel it, but their brain is still
yeah.
like just
And look,
melting.
I'll volunteer to you. Like I love espresso, right?
Yeah,
We just had a coffee and I told you I like it strong and black.
yeah,
Right? So I will have an espresso and I will have a glass of wine or two. So no, it doesn't mean that you don't live life. It just means that you have a tool to compensate for the acidity that you put in.
yeah,
Because, for example, coffee takes all of your minerals, like it just sucks you of all your magnesium, for example, which is critical.
yeah,
It's a macronutrient. And you know, the body doesn't produce those, so you have to put them in.
yeah.
So, how do you put it in so it's bioavailable? It's real, it's not made, you know, reinforced with. You don't want those.
Yeah, and especially like with energy. I'm someone who's drank many energy drinks in my day just because I was always go 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 late
Not until
nights.
you know me for long enough. I'll
Well,
turn your head on that one.
it's just they take all those like those things that have been
Yeah,
known to help with
yeah,
energy building, and then they partner it with all these other things to either keep the calories down,
yeah.
keep basically it's all these crazy things you've never even heard of.
Mm.
But you have the little things that might work, that the natural substances they put in there, but they mix it with just garbage and garbage and garbage. You
Of
don't
course.
know, yeah, for that extra 2 hours of kick you get, you don't know what you're doing to yourself,
Yeah.
right?
And even, you know, like for us here in BC and where we are, and we love going to Kelowna, right? And we get the beautiful fruits and vegetables in the summertime, and we love our cherries, and we go pick those, and people feel so much better. Why? Because they're antioxidants. So what we want to put into the body is antioxidants. And, you know, every fruit, every vegetable, and actually water is the same. As soon as you take it away from its source, it's about 48 hours that it retains the antioxidant value. After that, it really doesn't have much in it. And so that's why we want to have local. We want to have organic, as close to you as possible, as close to source as possible for your highest antioxidant value. And electrolytes reduced water is loaded with disassociated hydrogen. Not a science class, but just imagine the H2O, which everyone knows what that is, right? And they just bust it with an electrical charge, and then it hits against these platinum titanium plates inside the unit, almost like creating a thunderstorm in there. And then it disassociates this hydrogen, which is super tiny, first element in your periodic table. And that's why it is an absolute massive antioxidant. So when it comes into the body, it's able to penetrate into the cells. So you get cellular hydration. So when you do drink this water, honestly, you will feel it. You will feel the hydration.
That's really cool.
Right? And then you'll feel the strength and the energy. And so that's what happened to me. That kind of got me out of the slump. And then once a few years of, you know, embracing the water, and the technology is not just about the drinking waters, but a couple of other things that different pH waters can do for you in your household, such as removal of pesticides, herbicides from your fruits and veggies, which is critical. But then I found the energy healing modalities. And actually, I'm on the road to become an Ayurvedic health counselor and clinical specialist. So I just have signed up to this coolest course. So it's a 2-year journey. And I'm just literally going to start it this month of November 2020.
So another thing you're doing, that's
another thing. People say to me, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, how much more? But I'm an avid learner and I just love it. And Ayurveda has been in my mind a long time. And you know, it is the art of longevity.
Yeah.
So it all connects to what I'm doing and what I've been so passionate about. So it just makes sense. Plus, I love cooking. I love nutrition. I love herbs and spices, and I love creating in the kitchen. That's where I relax. So when I cook, I create and I relax, and people love my food, and it all connects to wellness. And
it works together, and you continue to grow and basically expand and change. And change, I think, is so healthy for people. People are scared of it, but I think it's so key to kind of just change what you're doing every now and then. Even if you're doing the same work, change, learn. Don't be stuck.
Change is nerve-wracking. It's nerve-wracking for all of us. And you know what happens, as I have mentioned to you before, that when you're not embracing change, when you're not noticing that you need to change, maybe I should say it that way, then life always pushes something your way that will make you do that change, that will make you make that move. Because if you didn't do it on your own, you're going to certainly be forced to make that move by the universe.
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost like when stuff happens to you, like you said, it happened to you young. It almost is a blessing when it happens to you at a young age, because once you're older, if you've been going down a route, you continue to do something that breaks down your body and you don't even know it. And you get you're older, and then all of a sudden you have that near-death experience or whatever. It's too late to go back.
Yeah.
But when it happens to you when you're young and you don't realize you're even going down a path of destruction, then...
Absolutely. And look, today I'm 47, and I feel honestly like I have reversed. I feel much better, much younger than 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's...
So whatever that means, right? So it's not just about the looks. Of course, we girls, we don't want the wrinkles and we don't want this and that, and of course nobody wants to age fast, right? So that's why we're looking for anti-aging things. you know. And when you keep your energy levels nice and high and your vibration is nice and high, then you start attracting all of that frequency to you, and you're just going to create a good storm.
Yeah, that's really a good way to look at it. I think it's the whole mentality of like you see older people if they're active and they treat
Yeah,
themselves well and they don't look at, oh, I'm supposed to be doing this because I'm 80. Like it's the people are like, I don't care how old I am, I'm gonna go take the dog for a walk, or I'm gonna
exactly.
go.
Or it's almost like for some, it's mindset. It's a mindset thing too,
Yeah,
because a lot of people just think that because we age with the numbers, then that means automatically that we it comes with disease, but it doesn't.
mm,
Disease comes when your body is not at ease anymore, when you with your lifestyle cause the body to work so much harder to buffer the crap,
yeah,
is what happens.
yeah,
You know that we're supposed to eat 80% alkaline, 20% acidic. Well, we do the exact opposite.
yeah,
So acidity is where almost all disease, almost all of it, just loves to be.
yeah,
So when you give the body acidic stuff, the disease and free radical cells go, oh yeah, I love it.
yeah,
So you know what I mean? You're helping yourself to get ill.
yeah,
And in reverse, you need to work on not helping your body to age.
yeah,
And then you can do that with millions of awesome stuff.
yeah. It's
Just so
it's
many good things you can use. So I became this researcher of what are all those good things, and I know that the hydration, which is very underestimated, by the way,
yeah,
one of the things that actually have attracted me to come to this podcast room in some way is that I feel that it is so underestimated and nobody understands the importance of that. The solution is the dilution of the pollution,
yeah. That makes a lot of
and
sense.
there is no other way. You cannot substitute it with other liquids or with other things.
Yeah, it's. I mean, what are we made of, right? Like it's.
Yes,
What is this planet made out of?
you
Like,
just
well,
read my
literally,
mind. See,
it's.
already we've got the connection.
Yeah,
It's 70% water we are, you know,
yeah,
and babies are like almost like 90. So when they're born and they've got that sweet little smells, right?
yeah,
Like that's the babies are alkaline.
yeah,
And as we age, we become more and more and more and more acidic because with our lifestyle, we are kind of feeding the, you know.
yeah,
So that would be the whole ball game, and I really want to be helping people to learn that there are better ways, that they can reverse aging, that they can feel better, that they don't have to be tired, and most importantly, that they can live their lives or do things for a living, even to find their purpose. And how do you find your purpose? How do you align with your own self?
yeah,
How do you find that true alignment, which is vibrational, of course, but your own truth, your own mission, your own calling? How do you put that out to the world? What you do is that in direct correlation of what you really want to do, what
yeah,
you're passionate about. Do you have a calling? Do you do something more than what you are? That's more important than you, like the me, right?
yeah.
So not the ego thingy, but like I've got a good job and I could make good money. I used to, and then look where it took me.
It's just a stress. Everybody always. It's a. I think the generation's moving in the right way, where it's more
Yes,
mental health is so key.
totally.
And like if you are making $1 billion a year and
Yeah.
you are just you hate everything you do, what is the point? There's no
Yeah.
point in
And
that.
even in current situation, which we don't have to use words and names, but just to say that even the mental anguish that people are suffering right now is tremendous. The children, the teenagers, the everybody, parents, grandparents, seeing all of the families being split, and so lots of stress, lots of mental issues right now
Yeah,
out there. So what you can do for yourself in the interim is to give your body what the body needs for optimal level of operation, and you will feel better. You won't have the anxiousness. Panic attacks, people asked me about this before, and they think it's because you're stressed. No, I don't think so. I think it's because your body is stressed, and because my brains, and I of course had a lot of output, like law, geez, right, all day long, all the time. I did not give my brains what it needed to function, so the brain went to panic mode, and that's what that is. That's why you're shaking and you think you're getting a heart attack and vertigo and losing control and everything else. So then, once I gave my body the minerals, everything is about minerals. Like minerals is You know what electrolytes are?
I have
Cool
no idea.
question. Actually, I'm not supposed to question you, eh?
Yeah, no, I know.
But
I'm glad. I have no idea. I know what they are, but I
electrolytes.
have no idea what
This
they
is
are.
so cool. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm just, I just learned as on the journey. Electrolytes are minerals that are capable of conducting electricity.
Wow.
That's what they are. So, for example, as a Reiki master, what I've noticed that when because I'm a conduit, really. So I'm not giving them the energy. They're receiving universal energy through me, through my hands, and then they release the negative energy also through my hands. So I'm conducting electrical charge all the time, back and forth. So Reiki masters, for example, even extra special need mineral supplementation,
Yeah.
good supplements.
Yeah, I know people don't have any idea the science behind our
Yeah,
lives and
yeah,
how key minerals and
yeah,
water and just
yeah,
like yeah, they always talk about it and you hear about it. The only time like I come from an athletic background, so when I hear electrolytes, all I hear is Gatorade. And that's like but what else do they put in that Gatorade to
yeah,
make it taste good?
yeah.
Like yeah,
And I check when we do presentations, and of course not in person lately, but more like online, so you can check maybe one of them on my Facebook page, business page of Wellness Wave Creations. We actually test these liquids, and we test whether it's a ginger ale or Sprite, or usually we test the lighter colored ones because they're easier to show with pH,
yeah,
but also we test it with the oxidation value. So a Gatorade is at plus 500
yeah,
millivolts, which means you're 10 times over the rate of where cancer starts
yeah,
in your body. So you're feeding it, feeding. So that's why you have to be mindful of it, not because it's not delicious or
yeah,
some, or I don't know. I really have never been a Gatorade person, but
yeah,
I was a coffee person, for example, and I didn't do anything else for 20 years but drink cold coffee. That's what I did,
yeah.
cold coffee. And by the time I would get to my morning coffee, it would be 4 p.m. and I'd be like, okay, one more client, one more thing, one more thing. So it would be like bone cold. So it was just even horrible.
Yeah, it's
But water, forget it.
and it's
Love
like
water.
everybody's different, and like
Yeah.
you brought up like you stopped going to actual physician like doctors
Yeah.
because of like they're taught a certain thing of like almost how everybody's gonna
Yeah.
react to everything, and
Yeah.
everybody's different. Like
Yeah.
somebody could drink, let's say, diet pop their whole life. And it slowly breaks down their body, or
That's right.
slowly starts like
That's right.
the chance of cancer.
That's right.
And then there's other people that like they could do it for drink something for 2 years and it
That's right.
kills them like
But it's in the balance of all. So for example, I know this person who eats very organic. A financial problem is not an issue. In other words, very well to do family. They actually even own an electrolyzed reduced water unit. So we can't even talk about that problem. Yet there's constant issues. And so that's because in their energetic field, they're not taking care of certain things. So it is always in the balance of probably in the balance of it all, how the body is going to react, how fast you're acidifying yourself, or if you feel so good and you've got a lot of encouragement and spiritual growth and high vibrational people around you and awesome stuff you do, and you love what you do, and you drink Coca-Cola, you're not going to be hit as hard. But if you're very stressed and then on the top of it you put certain acidity load, then your body is going to struggle to buffer all the time to keep your blood at 7.365 pH, because that's what the blood is. The blood doesn't move out of that. That's what it is. 7.365 to 7.4. Very little interval. And so what it does is when the tissue surrounding is acidic, then it wants its minerals to buffer. So when you don't give the minerals, it'll take it from your bones and from your teeth and from your hair and from your nails and from your, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's an ultimate computer. It's like, I need to keep this pH, otherwise you die. If your blood pH goes out of that interval, we go into coma or die.
Yeah.
Simple. It's not even a much of a, you don't have to be a doctor to know that. But having said that, my family physician teaches at University of Toronto. She's a professor there. Nothing against, but it's almost like they're just not taught in that model,
Yeah.
approach the human body that way, in a holistic way. But the east of the world, really, they think more preventative.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important to be more preventative. Don't wait until you die on a piece of walnut.
Yeah.
Is the lesson to learn here.
Yeah, because if you were drinking, like, let's say you had that water system from a young age and you were drinking it your whole life, you might not have those allergies to walnuts, right?
That's
Like,
right.
you literally have kind of almost created that. Because my dad, for one, he just got allergy tested because he's been having issues. And
Mm.
the amount of stuff he's allergic to randomly out of nowhere is insane. He's in his 60s, all of a sudden he's allergic to bananas.
Yeah.
He's eating
And
them
you
as,
see the word you said, all of a sudden.
yeah,
So that's crazy. Bananas, why would be allergic? So what happens is, this what I learned. And this is really for everyone that ever will listen to this podcast. Listen to me. Histamine, which I didn't know. I just popped the reactins like Claritins and reactin. If one didn't work, I popped the other. I couldn't exist without them.
yeah,
Forget it.
yeah,
I couldn't not even leave in the morning, okay, to my office. I would not be able to function. So the histamine is your water regulator hormone. I didn't know. What frick? Nobody told me.
no,
So basically what happens is, when you're dehydrated, your histamine level goes up. When you're hydrated, the histamine level goes down. See what I'm saying?
yeah. So if
That's
you're
all. It
hydrated,
is like that's it. That's all what's happening there. So when I got hydrated and had all those minerals with the water, then all of a sudden my allergies vanished. And then so many years later, and I'm not going to say I'm going to just go a chomp down on a piece of good old walnut cake.
yeah,
No, I'm not going to do it. I had such a trauma,
yeah,
and it's psychological as well. So after that, every restaurant, every menu, I dissected everybody. For me to order in a restaurant was an ordeal.
yeah,
Okay. And then eventually, so many years later, here in BC, one of my wonderful clients actually, that purchased the unit from us, she invited us over to her house, and we had dinner, and she made this lovely appetizer. And I could kind of tell there were walnuts on the top, right? But and my husband was, anyways, I was like, you know what? I mean, so many years later, I gotta try. Maximum, they'll call 911. But I kind of was confident that my body was good. I'm restored in that homeostasis, that I shouldn't have a problem. And so I had very carefully one of the appetizers, and then I waited half an hour. I'm like, okay, my throat is good. I'm good. I'm good. So I had another piece, and then I told them about it. And I swear to you, Lisa almost fainted, saying, oh my God, you didn't just do this to us, like for possibly taking you to emergency or whatever. So I actually know that I can eat walnuts now, and I know I can have blueberries, and I will have them. I won't have I won't have a couple of quarts.
yeah. Let's have
No.
a few.
And I make sure that it's all washed with my electrolytes reduced water, not this pH level, another pH, which removes the pesticides and everything. And that's what I do, and I don't have a problem. So I say that I will vouch for hydration on this, on just alone for this reason. How many people have allergies? And see, what happens is, when the toxicity level is so bad in our system, it's an overload. When you're not hydrated, nothing dilutes that crap, and then it starts causing the skin problems, the eczemas, the psoriasis, all of that.
Yeah,
So I mean, I had all of these understandings throughout the last so many years, which 2014 is when I got into the water world, if you will, and we've been able to change a lot of people's lives,
that's
and
good.
that is amazing.
Yeah, that's
So
always
many
good.
people who whose children wouldn't even drink it. Parents bought the unit, but the children would be like, no, I don't want it. Like, what is that crazy stuff anyways? And then now they do, and they no longer have headaches or migraines or this. So it does make a massive difference in your life.
That's amazing. How do we find more information about this unit?
Well, you just you check me out on Wellness Wave Creations. You know, I always educate about it. I've got workshops, a variety of awesome nature about wellness. I've got an in-house functional nutritionist who she and I talk about minerals all the time. Me from the hydration point of view, she from the food standpoint, and I'm talking whole foods, not supplementation.
Yeah.
How you cook at home, what you buy, and how you buy, and how you do it, and all that kind of jazz.
Yeah.
Ingredients and all the good stuff. And yeah, and just check me out.
Sounds good.
And that's what you do. I mean, it's direct selling, so you do have to find a distributor that will educate on the process.
Yeah.
You know, the company's name is Inagic, so people can check that out.
Awesome.
They're extremely credible. And like I said, Japanese hospitals have been doing this forever. It's like very, very natural for them to use ionizers.
Yeah, I feel like going back like to just the basics of like human, almost like just us, like what we are, and we go and try to go so difficult with how we fix things, and we don't ever just think of the basics of life.
Especially here in BC, because it's so gorgeous here. I mean, oh my God, I would never move back to Toronto. Sorry, Toronto, but no,
Yeah.
it's not going to happen. So the thing is that we look here. I mean, look at where we live. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's heaven.
Yeah.
So when we look into the mountains and we go into nature, and I have gone with my little ORP machine to Bunsen Lake and around the areas and everywhere, and to all the way to Banff and across Canada and measure. But of course, the water loses electrical charge as well.
Yeah.
So none of us is at the Himalayas licking the glaciers, if you know what I'm saying. So, but if you want that quality of water, it's an extra level from filtration. So you're not thinking now filtration.
Yeah.
You're thinking of electrical charge.
Yeah.
Is what you're thinking of
that's
in your
cool.
water.
That's cool. I think more people need to think about that kind of stuff. Especially now. I think stress is the biggest, like almost like killer right now.
Totally.
People not knowing how to deal with things, people having panic attacks, people depressed when they haven't been in the past, people.
The biggest acidifier, you know.
Yeah.
Let's not even talk about foods, drinks, water, nothing. It's actually stress.
Yeah.
Hits us at like pH 3.
Yeah.
And you know, pH is a logarithmic scale. So the difference between 7 to 8 is not 1, it's a 10 times.
Yeah.
So when you go from pH 7, which is tap water, which we're not going to talk about tap water today.
Yeah.
I don't want to be shot by anyone. Anyway, so pH 7 to 3 is, start going with me. 10 times 10 is 100. Times 10 is 1,000. Times 10 is 10,000. So it's 10,000 more times acidic than tap water. Stress. Do you understand the numbers there?
Yeah.
You can't joke around those proportions.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
And what do people usually drown stress out with? It's definitely not water.
Oh my, I know, right?
It's definitely other things that are
no kidding.
just probably making you more stressed. Might help you in the short term, but in the long term, it's just
right. So this is why all of these things, and this is why I'm really truly feeling that I'm this finder of these things. You know, just like I love essential oils. Why? Just because they're pure, they're botanicals, they're plants. I kill all the basil in my kitchen. I mean, legit, I kill them all. Like every single basil plant I have purchased. Sorry, but it's dead. So I just buy a basil essential oil now, and I'm like, I will use it, and you can, you know. So if, as long as it's a pure good product, right?
Yeah, all the natural products that the world has too. Like it's, I think we go too far into like health. It could be anything. When there's like Eastern cultures you talked about are so they use what they have and have created like over time, and how many thousands of years they've been using these things that do help, and then we go and take it and overcomplicate everything and want to throw as much ingredients into something to basically man create something like that. We want to
That's
create it
it.
by man.
And I come from a very organic environment in Central Europe. So my parents were not farmers, they were professionals, but everybody has a garden, everybody grows veggies, and I had fruit trees, and I have still a vineyard there, and that kind of jazz. So I we didn't store stuff in the house like this. Like my mom would tell me, go out to the garden and pick me up some parsley and tomatoes, and I'd be like, really? Like it was a
Yeah.
big task, like it was a nag, like and
Yeah.
now I wish like I just could just like of course I've got a little garden going, but of course we have limitations,
Yeah.
not enough sun, etc. But I grew up that way. So when I came to Canada, I was 25 years ago. So I was like 21 and 3/4 when I arrived.
Yeah.
What did I care about? I was like, Mom, we can have peppers in the winter, and what are you worried about? Like, so basically, I did not really understand that when something comes from California or Mexico, which is amazing,
Yeah.
but it's far.
Yeah.
So by the time it gets here, in the process of transportation, heating, cooling, because those trucks, right? Like they're cool trucks. Like I used to have actually in my legal field when I used to deal with these guys who used to repair the almost the HVAC systems of the trucks or whatever, how to cool the veggies that they're transporting through North America, big distances, right?
Yeah.
So by the time you get your produce, it doesn't have the value. So, for example, you will hear a lot of people that come from organic places like that, not just Central Europe, many places in the world, that when they come here, that the fruits and veggies don't taste the same.
Yeah.
It's kind of tasteless.
Well, it's preservatives. They're pumping into
So
the.
you want to go, that's why we love going to Kelowna once again. But know
Yeah.
about this, that actually they have a rule of like 3 times higher mandatory of spraying of their fruit trees and produce.
Yeah. It's so
And
bad.
their water system is heavily chlorinated, even compared to us here in the lower mainland, for example.
Yeah.
So even folks with an ionizer unit in Kelowna, they have to change filters more often because the chlorine just kills it.
Yeah.
So anyhow, so this is how this has come about,
Yeah.
and so the journey continues all the time to help people and anybody. And if you want to raise your vibration, and whether your game is to just lay down and have a nice Reiki session,
Yeah.
which what I love about it is a gateway. You don't need to do much. You don't need to change your habits.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't look into improving your life, but I'm just saying if you don't want to jolt yourself and have a complete lifestyle change, which nobody can really sustain if it's so sudden, then that's a beautiful gateway service to just keep your parasympathetic nervous system nice and active. Why? Because that's where we rest. That's where we digest. If our parasympathetic nervous system is shut down from stress and anxieties, we cannot digest. And you know what's worse than anything is undigested food.
Yeah. It just sits there not breaking down. Yeah. No thanks.
Right? Like you
Yeah.
visualize that one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I, yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the things we don't want,
Yeah.
right?
I've heard a lot of stuff about water actually being the more of a help to dieting than eating healthy.
That's it.
Just because it actually keeps your system just like going and flushing stuff out and
That's right. Well,
all
that's
that fun stuff we love.
it. Solution to pollution is dilution.
Yeah,
That's what
that's
it
great.
is.
Well, thanks for joining us, Orshi. I really, this is very interesting. I love the vibe I get from you when I talk to you.
Thank you.
I could talk to you forever. We have to keep it under
Yeah.
the Instagram video length level.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, thank you so much.
I thank you so much for having me here, and I love this space. I love the energy of the space as well, and I love chatting with you. And we already had done a good chat prior to podcast for the people that wouldn't know. But yeah, and I look forward to coming back with any other time when you invite me. I'll
Sounds
be here.
good. We'll definitely have more conversation.
I love your space here.
Thank you.
And this is a wonderful addition to the Tri-Cities community and for entrepreneurs in the area.
Thank you so much. That's awesome words. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This has been another edition of PoCommunity. I'm Mike Arboy. She's Orshi. Have a good one.
Bye.